Imagine a summer that would never end. Imagine a boy who would never grow up. Imagine a barber who was never young. Imagine a dog that would live forever. Imagine a small town, the kind that isn't lived in anymore. Ready? Begin.
Something's coming.
Only the noon train, Ralph. Just the train that comes at noon.
No, something's really coming. Big things, important things.
Now, what's important to me, Ralph, is hair, sweep.
Gosh, you'd think this stuff just grew right up off the floor.
Right, I didn't cut all that. Darn stuff just grows on its own. Look at that. Did you ever see so many different colors of hair and chin fuzz? Here's Charlie Smith's top knot. And there's all that's left of Mr. Harry Joe Flynn.
Gosh, Mr. Wineski, I guess you know just about everything in the whole world.
Just about.
There it is again. The train. And something on the train.
Noon train doesn't stop in Greentown on Friday. You know that, Ralph.
But I got this feeling.
I got a feeling the hair's gonna grab me, Ralph.
I'm thinking of changing my name.
What's wrong with you today, boy?
It's not me, it's the name. Just listen to it. Ralph.
Ain't exactly harp music.
Ralph's dumb. I'm gonna change my name by tonight.
Julius for Caesar? Alexander for the Great?
Don't care what. Help me, huh, Mr. Wineski? Find me a name. Here it comes.
There it goes.
No, there it doesn't go.
Greentown.
I just gotta see Mr. Wineski, please.
Get along, Ralph.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Wineski, thanks.
Come and tell me the worst.
I bet he's headed for our house. A new boarder. Right, Doug? I got this feeling.
Hello, boy. Hello, dog.
Heck, how'd you know where we were hiding?
In a former incarnation, I was a boy. Time before that, if memory serves, I was a more than usually happy dog. But to the issue at hand, the station master has directed me here. Does the sign say true, boy?
Best rooms in town.
Beds?
Mattresses so deep you sink down happy.
Food?
Hot biscuits every morning, peach pie noon, shortcake every supper. Right, dog?
I'd sign my soul away.
I beg your pardon.
Manner of speaking, ma'am. Not meant to sound unchristian. This bright lad has just been telling me about your accommodations. I'm looking for...
There's a room free next to Mr. Wineski, Grandma.
Well, I know that, Ralph. Won't you come in? He is a bright boy, isn't he? Hal and I raised him from a baby after our Lori was taken from us. She and her husband were missionaries, you know. Jungle fever.
God moves in mysterious ways, madam. His purpose to reveal.
Why, that's just what our minister said. Are you a minister?
No, ma'am.
C-H.
Read upside down, dear boy.
Yes, sir. A-R-L-E-S. Charles.
Right.
Mighty fine hand.
Thank you, ma'am.
D-I-C-K-E-N-S.
Yes. What?
Dickens.
Good.
Charles Dickens, Grandma.
A mighty fine name.
Fine. It's great. But I thought you were...
Dead? No. Alive, in fine fettle, and glad to me to recognize a fan and fellow reader here.
Ralph, mind your manners. Help Mr. Dixon with his bag.
Dickens, Grandma.
Well, that's what I said.
Sarah, looks like we have a new boarder.
Yes, Hal. And Ryder, you two should get along famously.
Grandpa, I'd like you to meet Mr. Charles Dickens.
Any friend of Nicholas Nicleby is a friend of mine.
Thank you, sir. Anywhere will do, Pip. Oh, you don't mind if I call you Pip, huh?
Oh, boy. Oh, no, sir. Pip's fine.
You're not from around these parts, are you, Mr. Lickens?
Dickens, Mum.
Eh?
Not from around here, no. This is the first time I've had the pleasure. Dear me, Pip. I seem to be fresh out of pads and pencils. Might it be possible?
Here, it's a yellow Ticonderoga #2. And an iron face Indian notebook #12.
Extraordinary. Extraordinary. Pip, I've traveled 2 long weeks with an idea for a story. Bastille Day. Do you know it?
July 14th, French 4th of July.
Remarkable boy. It will be set during the great and terrible revolution for the rights of man. And it must be done by Bastille Day. Will you help me breach the tide gates of the revolution, Pip?
With these?
Lick the pencil tip, boy. Top of the page, the title. Title. Pip, what is a rare, fine title for a novel that happens half in London, half in Paris? Yes?
A tale?
Yes?
A tale of 2 cities?
Madam, this boy is a genius.
I read about this day in the Bible. Everything ends at noon.
Put it down, Pip. Quick. Tale of 2 cities. Then, book the first, mid-page, recalled to life. Chapter 1, the period. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair.
Ralph, come and set the table.
Pip! Pip!
Yes, sir.
Dinner time, Pip. Come help your grandma.
How did you know about Pip?
Good job. Oh, I heard the name fall out of the window an hour ago. Oh, mind the salt and pepper, Pip.
Pip.
Oh, evening, Sam.
Oh, Mr. Wineski, I'm real sorry about not coming back. I'll work twice as hard tomorrow, honest.
Who's this, Pip?
Me, Mr. Wineski, I gotta tell you, I've been everywhere this afternoon. The Dover coach and the Dover Road. Paris. Traveled so much I got writer's cramp.
Paris. Pip?
When I was 12, changed my name on several occasions. Dick, that was Dead-Eye Dick. And John, that was for Long John Silver. Then Hyde, that was for the other half of Jekyll.
I never had any other name except Bernard Samuel.
None?
None.
Have you proof of childhood then, sir? Or are you a natural phenomenon like a ship becalmed at sea?
Huh?
Never mind, Bernard Samuel. Never mind. Ah.
Dinner's ready, Mr. Dixon.
Dickens, Grandma.
Dickens?
Mr. Charles Dickens, we have a new boarder, a novelist who is starting a new book and has chosen Pip to work as his secretary. Ralph.
Worked all afternoon, made a quarter.
A novelist named Dickens? Surely you don't believe it.
I believe what a man tells me until he tells me otherwise. Then I believe that. A man with a good demeanor has entered our house. He says his name is Dickens. For all I know, that's his name. He implies he is writing a book. I pass his door, look in, and yes, he is indeed writing. Should I tell him not to? It's obvious. He needs to set the book down.
A Tale of Two Cities.
A tale?
Good evening.
Mr. Dickens, I'd like you to meet Mr. Wineski, the greatest barber in the world.
Mr. Dickens, will you lend us your talent, sir, for grace?
An honor, sir. O Lord of the bounteous table, O Lord, who furnishes forth an infinite harvest for your most respectful servants gathered here in loving humility, O Lord, who garnishes our feast with the bright radish and resplendent chicken, who sets before us the wine of the summer season, lemonade, and who maketh us humble before the simple potato pleasures, the low-born onion, and, in the finale, so my nostrils tell me, the bread of vast experiments and fine success, the high-born strawberry shortcake, beautifully smothered and amiably drowned in fruit from your own warm garden patch. For this and this good company, much thanks. Amen.
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 Amen. I guess.
Oh, what a summer that was. None like it before in Greentown history. I never got up so early, so happy ever in my life. Out of bed at 5 minutes to. In Paris by 1 minute after. 6 in the morning, the English Channel boat from Calais. The white cliffs, sky, a blizzard of seagulls. Dover, then the London coach and London Bridge by noon. Then back to Paris and tea at 4 And there I was, Mr. C. Dickens, A1, first class, Greentown, Illinois, secretary. My eyes bugging, my ears popping, my chest bursting with joy, for I dreamt of being a writer too, and here I was unraveling a tale with the very finest best. Mr. Wineski, somehow I neglected his shop. Somehow I forgot the mysterious barber pole that came up from nothing and spiraled away to nothing, and the fabulous hair that grew on his white tile floor.
You know, you move any faster, you're going to turn into a streak of lightning.
Grandpa, I'm in a hurry.
That's what I've been meaning to talk to you about, son.
Huh?
Your grandma can spare you for a few minutes, and your Mr. Dickens can spare you for a little while, too. Now, I've been thinking, Ralph.
Name's Pip.
Pip? Well, now, I do like that boy, Pip. Fast on his feet, hard worker. Might even turn into a famous writer someday. But this Ralph, well, your grandmother and I had sort of gotten used to this boy named Ralph. He used to like to go fishing with me Saturday morning. He used to hang around the kitchen when his grandma baked peach pies. He used to play out there in the yard with his friend Henry. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Henry all summer. Then,
Grandpa.
Let me finish. Then there's Mr. Wineski. I don't think even he knows why he is so unhappy. He's had a tooth pulled during the night by a mysterious dentist, and now his tongue is aching around the empty place where the tooth was.
We're not in church, Grandpa.
Oh, cut the parables, huh? In simple words, son, Mr. Wineski is a man with no wife, no family. Just a job. A man with no family needs someone, somewhere in the world, whether he knows it or not.
I'll wash the barbershop windows tomorrow. I'll oil the barber pole so it spins like crazy.
I know you will, son. I know. Now, you run on upstairs. I'll take care of this disaster in here.
Oh, thanks, Grandpa, thanks. Charles Darney's in big trouble. Went to Paris, got sent to prison.
Oh.
We gotta see what happens next.
Sure.
Of course, crowds could have been better. Most people don't know a good thing when they see it.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epic of belief. It was the epic of incredulity.
All set, Mr. Mesmo. You look very distinguished.
Doctor, that's Dr. Mesmo.
Dr. Mesmo.
Should be a good crowd tonight. The last night always brings them in. You taking the missus?
No.
Oh, I get it. Is she pretty?
Is she pretty?
Never mind. Enjoy the show, man. Mesmero's Magic Show. Come see it tonight.
Ralph, come here. Hi, Henry. Name's Pip. Oh, I forgot. No, after dinner, you want to go digging for night crawlers? I found this great spot where there's a whole bunch of them. Nobody knows where it is except me. I'll show you where it is if you want to. I'd like to go, Henry. I gotta help Mr. Dickens. You don't know what you're missing, though. I caught 100 last night.
Ralph, Henry, you boys have finished visiting. Maybe you could do me a favor.
Sure, Mr. Wineski, anything. Sure.
Well, for some reason, this Dr. Mesmo fella got the idea that I wanted to go to this magic show of his tonight. Last performance. Gave me these tickets. Could you boys take them off my hands?
Can we? The magic show. Oh, thanks, Mr. Wineski.
All right. Now get along home, both of you.
But, Mr. Wineski...
It's all right, Ralph. You put in a pretty good day's work. For a change.
I can't go, Henry. What? I can't go, Zo. Charles Darnay's in prison. He might be killed. I gotta help Mr. Dickens work it out.
Nah, you're crazy. You're gonna miss Miss Frostbite just because of that dumb old story?
It's not dumb, Henry.
They got rabbits coming out of hats and a knife thrower, and Miss Frostbite gets sawed in half.
Henry, imagine you always wanted to be a baseball player.
But I do want to be a baseball player.
Imagine one day, just out of nowhere, one of the greatest baseball players of all time comes walking right through your front door.
Babe Ruth?
Babe Ruth. And he tells you can help him out at batting practice, and you follow him around, and you're in the middle of a great season.
60 home runs.
Would you just leave him in the middle of an important game, top of the ninth inning, score time?
Okay.
Will you do me something?
What?
I can't tell Mr. Wineski I'm not going tonight. He wouldn't understand.
Well, what do you want me to do?
Remember all the acts, especially Miss Frostbite. So if Mr. Wineski asks me how the show is like, I can tell him.
Oh, I don't think we should do that.
I know it's telling a lie, Henry, but it's for a good reason. If we don't, Mr. Wineski will never forgive me.
Okay.
Thanks, Henry. I'll do you a favor sometime. I promise.
Friends together?
Friends forever.
That's some favor.
I have saved him. It was not another of the dreams in which he had often come back. He was really here. And yet his wife trembled, and a vague but heavy fear was upon her. You see, Pip, she knows that Charles Darnay will not be safe until he's out of Paris. Now, all the air around was so thick and dark. The people were so passionately revengeful.
Ralph, you haven't told me about the show last night. How'd it go? Was the amazing Miss Frostbite really amazing?
That's what I have to talk to you about, Mr. Wineski.
You boys have a good time?
Mr. Wineski.
Now watch this. Did you and that Henry get into mischief last night? Tell me the truth.
Mr. Wineski, I'm trying to tell the truth, but it's just hard. Henry didn't get into trouble last night. I did. I didn't go to the show.
Didn't go? You waited all summer for that blame show.
I know, Mr. Wineski, and I was real happy he gave me the tickets, honest. And I wanted to go, but I just couldn't go last night. It was a matter of life and death.
Ralph Spaulding, what in tarnation are you talking about?
Charles Darnay, he was on trial, about to get sent to the guillotine.
Charles Darnay, the guillotine.
I know you're mad, Mr. Wineski, and I reckon I got it coming, but I just didn't know how to tell you yesterday. I was gonna pretend I went, but I couldn't tell a lie. Not to you. Mr. Wineski! Mr. Wineski!
A little late, aren't you, son?
Sorry, Grandpa,
Something the matter?
No, Grandpa, nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Stickins. And where is Mr. Wineski?
Mr. Wineski is out brooding in the yard.
Brooding?
Yep, brooding's the word. Saw him kick the rose bush, kick the green ferns by the porch, decided against kicking the apple tree. God made it too firm. There, he just jumped on a dandelion. Uh-oh, here he comes. Moses crossing a black sea of bile.
Mr. Wineski.
I'll say grace tonight. O Lord, who delivered me a fine June and a less fine July, help me get through August somehow. Deliver me from the mobs and riots in the streets of London and Paris, which drum through my room night and morn. Chief members of said riots being one boy that walks in his sleep, a man with a strange name, and a dog that barks after the ragtag and bobtail. Give me the strength to resist the cries of fraud and bunk artists that rise in my mouth, and help me to say quietly, in all deference to the lady present, that if one Charles Dickens is not on the train tomorrow, bound for Potter's Grave or Land's End, I shall, like Delilah, with malice, shear the black lamb and fry his whiskers for twilight dinners and late midnight snacks. I ask, O Lord, not mercy for the mean, but simple justice. All agreed, say amen.
Dickens. Mr. Dickens.
No one by that name here. No one by that name in this bed, in this room, in this world.
You're Charles Dickens.
You ought to know better. Long time after midnight, moving on toward morning.
You're a world-famous author. So what call you got to feel sorry for yourself?
You know and I know. I'm Mr. Nobody from nowhere.
Good night.
Wait. Pip.
Yeah.
Let's both be quiet. Come, sit down. It's a fierce, awful time of night. A long way back to sunset and 10,000 miles on to dawn. We have need of friends then. Pip, I'm a man who could never fit his dream.
What?
I mean, Pip, I never became what I wanted to be.
What'd you want to be?
A writer.
A writer? Did you try?
Try? Well, Lord of mercy, son. You never saw so much spit, ink and sweat fly. I wrote my way through an ink factory. I busted and broke a paper company. I ruined and dilapidated 6 dozen typewriters.
Wow.
You may well say wow.
What did you write?
What didn't I write? The poem, the essay, the play tragique, the farce, short story, the novel. 1,000 words a day, boy, every day for 30 years. Millions of words passed from my fingers onto paper. And it was all bad.
It couldn't have been.
It was. Not mediocre. Not passing fair. Just plain, outright mudbath bad. Friends knew it. Editors knew it. One strange fine day, about 4 in the afternoon when I was 50, I knew it.
But you can't write for 30 years without...
Stumbling upon excellence? Gaze long. Gaze hard, Pip. Look upon the only man in history who put down 5 million words without ever slapping to life one puny character who could rear his head and cry, Eureka, we've done it.
You never sold one story?
Not a throwaway newspaper sonnet. Isn't that rare? To be so outstandingly dull that nothing ever brought a chuckle, caused a tear, raised a temper, discharged a blow. And you know what I did on the day I discovered I would never be a writer? I killed myself.
Killed?
Did away with. Destroyed.
How?
I packed me up. 2 trunks of my collected works. Then I took me on a long train ride. Rode a long time. One by one, I let my manuscripts fly away like panicked birds down the tracks. One by one, slow at first, then faster, faster. The faster I chucked them over. Story after story. Out of my arms, out of my head, out of my life. Down they went, sunk, drowning in night rivers of prairie dust, in lost continents of sand, lonely rock. And I opened my fingers, empty at last. And when I got off the train at the end of that long summer, I said, "What? What's this? I'm a new man." And I looked in a fly-specked gum machine in Peach Gum, Missouri. My beard grown long in 2 months of travel, my hair gone wild with the wind that combed it this way sane, that way mad. And I said, "What? Charlie Dickens, is that you?" And the reflection cried, "Damn it, sir. Who else would it be? Stand back. I'm off to a great lecture."
Did you really say that, Mr. Dickens?
God's pillars and temples of truth, Pip. And maybe the thing that saved me was the thing that ruined me in the first place.
What?
Respect for my elders. The grand moguls and tall mucky mucks in the lush literary highlands. With me in the dry river bottom in my canoe. For, oh God, Pip, how I devoured Tolstoy, drank Dostoevsky, feasted on de Maupassant. I read too much. Suddenly, I found I could not forget their books, Pip.
Couldn't?
I mean, I could not forget any letter of any word, of any sentence, of any paragraph, of any book that ever passed under these hungry, omnivorous eyes.
Photographic memory.
Bullseye. All of Dickens, Hardy, Austen, Poe, Hawthorne, trapped in this old box brownie camera, waiting to be printed off my tongue. All those years, I never knew. Pip, I had hid it all away.
And then?
Well, then I bought fresh paper and ink for my first book. And have been delirious and joyful and lunatic ever since. Writing all the books, one by one. Me, Charles Dickens.
But how do you live?
I have traveled the continental vastness of the United States of North America and settled in to write, lecturing here and there. Sometimes I lie whole snowbound winters in little whistle stops. Sometimes I stay whole summers in one town before I'm driven off.
Driven off?
Oh, yes, driven. For such as your Mr. Wineski cannot forgive the fantastic, Pip, no matter how particularly practical that fantastic be.
I don't get it.
He does not see that we all do what we must to survive. Survive. Some laugh, some cry, some bang the world with fists, some run, but it all sums up the same. We make do. The world swarms with people, boy, each one drowning, but each swimming a different stroke to the far shore.
But what about Mr. Wineski?
Mr. Wineski makes do with his shop and his scissors and cannot understand my inky pen and littered papers and borrowed English soul. Time for me to go.
No, you can't leave. You haven't finished the book.
Pip, dear boy, you haven't been listening.
The world's waiting. You just can't quit in the middle of A Tale of Two Cities.
Oh, Pip.
You can't, Mr. Dickens.
Pip.
I'm waiting. They're waiting.
They?
The mob at the Bastille. Lucy Manette, Dr. Manette, Charles Darnay, Sidney Carton, London, Paris, the guillotine.
Pip.
Charlie.
Where were we this afternoon, Pip?
Charles Darnay in prison, saved by Sidney Carton.
Oh, yes, I remember now. The coach speeding through the darkness with Darnay and Lucy, fearful of pursuit. Take this, Pip. The wind is rushing after us, and the clouds are flying after us, and the moon is plunging after us. The whole wild night is in pursuit of us. But so far, we are pursued by nothing else.
Morning, Mr. Dickens.
Morning, Pip.
Mr. Dickens, The Tale of Two Cities. It's finished?
Done. Didn't go to sleep. Working steady. Done, finished.
Wow.
I'm leaving it for you, Pip.
Leaving?
Mr. Dickens, the book's finished, yeah, but not published yet.
You be the executor, Pip.
Well, wait. What about David Copperfield and A Christmas Carol? If we start now, we'll be done by Christmas Easy. Scrooge, Mr. Dickens, and Marley's Ghost.
Friends of yours, Pip?
Yours, Mr. Dickens. Oh, gosh, if you don't write that, they'll never live.
They'll get on somehow.
Mr. Dickens, I'll give you a new title, Pickwick Papers. And after that, Bleak House and Hard Times and Great Expectations. Oh, go on, leave, get away. You don't deserve reading, you don't. See if I even bother finish reading Tale of Two Cities. Not me, never.
Pip, you mean what you just said?
You're nothing but a coward.
Bar humbug, Pip?
Humbug. I don't give a blast what happens to Sidney Carton.
Why, it is a far, far better thing I do than I've ever done. Pip, you must read it.
Why?
Because I wrote it for you.
So?
So, I've just missed my train. 40 minutes till the next one.
Then you got time?
Time for what?
Time to meet someone. Come on, just this once, and I promise I'll finish reading your book.
The library? In there?
10 minutes, Mr. Dickens. Give me 10 minutes. Just 10, please.
Pip, what are we doing here? Let's go. There's nothing here that I... Bless me. I know that sound. It's the sound of someone writing.
Yes, sir.
Writing with a pen and writing
What?
poetry. That's it. Someone off there in a room. How many fathoms deep? Pip, I swear. Writing a poem. There. Huh? Flourish, flourish. Scratch. Flourish, on. Not figures, Pip. Not numerals. Not dusty, dry facts. Feel it sweep. Feel it scurry. A poem, by God, yes, sir. No doubt, a poem.
Man.
Pip, don't stop her. Let her go. The middle of inspiration.
As imperceptibly as grief, the summer lapsed away. Too imperceptibly at last to seem like perfidy. Oh, Ralph, it's you. Why, you're Ralph's friend. Mr. Dickens, isn't it?
Mr. Dickens, I want you to
Beautiful.
meet...
That last poem. I also admire, because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. Miss Emily.
Her name is...
Miss Emily.
Pleased. But how did you...
Know you were here? Why, bless me, Mom. I heard you scratching way off in here, and that run-along rush. Only poets do that.
It's nothing.
Chin high, head up. It's something. Because I could not suffer death is a fine A1 first-class poem.
My own poems are so poor. I copy hers out to learn.
Copy who?
Excellent way to learn.
Is it? Really? You're not...
Joking. No, not with Emily Dickinson, Mum.
Emily Dickinson?
It means so much coming from you, Mr. Dickens. I have read all your books.
All?
Oh, all that you've published so far, sir.
Just finished a new one, Tale of Two Cities.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
And you, Ma'am?
Me? Why, I haven't even sent a poem to our town newspaper.
You must. Tomorrow. No, today.
But I have no one to read them to first.
Why, you have Pip here. And accept my card. Charles Dickens, Esquire, who will, if allowed, stop by on occasion to see if all's well in this Arcadian silo of books.
Oh, but I couldn't.
Tut, you must. For I shall offer only warm sliced white bread. Your words must be the marmalade in summer honey. I shall read long and plain. You, short and rapturous of life, and tempted by that odd, delicious death you often lean upon. You... Enough. There, at the far end of the corridor, her lamp lit, ready to guide your hand. The muse awaits. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Doesn't that mean God be with you?
So I've heard, dear lady. So I've heard.
Good job, Ralph. Yeah, that's right, dog. Why should you move? You own the place. You know, Ralph, when I was your age, more than anything in the world, I wanted to be a railroad man.
Yeah?
Sure did. Wanted to get one of them conductor's hats and sit up in the cabin and blow that whistle.
And then?
And then what?
Why didn't you?
I don't know. Man grows up. Grows out of the things he used to want.
Just like that?
Just like that. And here I am, the world's greatest barber. You find out for yourself, Ralph. It's all a part of growing up.
Not me. I'm gonna grow up and be
a writer. I know.
He been bending your ear, too?
Only every hour or so.
This letter came for you today, son. Thought I'd bring it over. Special delivery like.
For me, Grandpa?
To Master Pip Spaulding from Mr. and Mrs. Charles Dickens, Esquire.
Gosh, Grandpa, I wonder where they are. Dear Pip, we are in Aurora tonight, Felicity tomorrow, and Elgin the night after that. Charlie has 6 months of lectures lined up and looking forward. Charlie and I are both working steadily and are most happy.
Very happy. He calls me Emily. Pip, I don't think you know who she was, but I hope you'll get her poems out of the library someday. Well, Charlie looks at me and says, "This is my Emily." And I almost believe. No, I do believe. We are crazy, Pip. People have said it. We know it. Yet we go on. But being crazy together is fine. It was being crazy alone I couldn't stand any longer. Some year we may come back to your town. If you're there, call our names as we know ourselves now. Signed, Emily Dickinson.
P.S. Charlie is my darling. Well, well. Well, well.
You know, I don't think they're crazy.
Neither do I, Pip. Neither do I.
Imagine a summer that would never end. Imagine a boy who would never grow up. Imagine a barber who was never young. Imagine a dog that would live forever. Imagine a small town, the kind that isn't lived in anymore. Ready? Begin.